Millionaires put all their money in the market, right? They don't pay down their mortgage, do they? Well, today we're going to walk through putting your money in the market or pay it down on your house. For those that haven't tuned in before, welcome to Frank Finance, where you can get your honest financial information and your questions answered. Today's discussion is going to really go through if you had a scenario where you could put money in the market or on your house, what would it look like? For two different valued houses and three different lump sums, 500, 1,000, and 2,000 per month against either the mortgage or in the market, and we'll talk through it. But before we do, we need to think through a couple things high level, and then I will do as always, I will bring up a spreadsheet and we'll just talk through it. Two big things to think about. Why would you take your cash flow and put it against the mortgage or put your cash flow in the market? When you're putting it against the mortgage, the first thing is that it's guaranteed as a rate perspective, and so the interest you would have paid the bank is going to go away. Now, when you think of the investments out there, if you put money in an investment, the cash flow is readily available, whereas with a house, it's actually in the form of a HELOC and potentially not as easy to grab the funds back. And then obviously when it comes to stocks, remember that the rates aren't guaranteed. So what I want to say with this here quickly is that, as I'd mentioned, we're going to do two scenarios. So scenario number one is going to be talking about a $350,000 house, and we have three tranches here. Putting 500 a month out there, 1,000 a month, and 2,000 a month. Some of the facts to keep in mind: $350,000 is the house that this individual owns. The growth rate, the house is at 3% interest. The investments in the portfolio are at 7, so keep that in mind. The interest that the house would have is 181,000 if you don't pay it off in 30 years. This is what you would actually pay. And then from a monthly payment standpoint, there's just shy of $1,500 is what's on the house, and we would put 500 in a month and 1,000 and so forth. Okay, so now that we're grounded on that, let's get to the math here. So if you were to pay down your house, and instead of putting 500 in the market, you put it on the house in 234 months, which would mean that for 126 months, you would actually be putting the sum of these two together, or just shy of $2,000 into the market for 126 months, whereas against the investing, you're putting 500 away for 360 months. So now, as we think of what does that mean against the mortgage? Well, putting 500 a month towards your house means that you're actually going to save just shy of $70,000 in interest. And when it comes to the investment gains, you're going to have 340,000 in the house, 450,000 investing, and just to make sure that we're thinking about this logically, we need to take the tax benefits, so call it your federal and state rates. So I'm using as if it's long-term 15% plus the state rates of, call it 7%, to be somewhat conservative here, which would mean their after-tax value on the house side is 260,000 and the after-tax value of investing is roughly 330. So what does that mean? Well, guess what? They're going to come out extremely close. There is no one way or another that makes more sense in terms of, do I put my money on my house or investing? The question is thinking about your own personal situation. As I had mentioned earlier, if you put 500 into a house today and you need the 500 tomorrow, you're not really going to get it back. Investing isn't going to guarantee that you're going to have a net worth of these dollars worth 334,000 at the end. So now let's think about, what does that mean when you go across the 1,000 and 2,000? Same math problems that are out here. And just as a full disclaimer, the way that I did this is I went and put this into an amortization schedule. I put 500 all the way down as extra payments to figure out how many are left, and then I typed these into another amortization schedule that built up the values on the investments. You can see you actually saved even more interest because you're putting more down on the house, and the investments are much bigger because you're putting 1,000 into the market, and for the house, when you pay off the house, you're actually putting 25 into the market. After tax values, you can see that this actually grows to 650,000 compared to about 670,000. And then on the final note here, if you were to put 2,000 into the market, you would see is that you actually save 127,000 in interest against the $350,000 mortgage, which would yield you a near 1.3 million in value at the end of it. and the investing would be basically the same at 1.3 million. What if the house is more expensive? Does it change the scenario? Well, here you go. Again, the same three buckets. So I'll leave this up here on the top so you can see this. But from a 500,000 and 2,000 standpoint, what you're going to notice is that the more expensive the house is, the house actually, at some point or another, actually is worth more than investing in the market. And if you can only put 500 away, what is constant under all scenarios is that putting money in the market could yield a better return than putting money in the house. Over the long haul, whether you're investing in a house or you're putting it in the market right away, they're going to yield very similar results. There is a couple tax advantages with the house, I get it. There's a couple tax advantages to investing, I get it. But the real question is, if you're going to be able to put $2,000 a month away, it makes more sense to put it on the house. If you only have 500 to put into the market or versus your house, it actually potentially would yield better to put the money in the investments. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Really what this is trying to illustrate is there's no right way to put your funds against either the house or investing. What I'm trying to show you is that no matter what you do, you need to create the plan and stick to it. They will both yield almost the same results. It's so small of a difference at the end or 30 years down the road that what matters most is you find a plan and you stick to it. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, comment below if you'd like to hear more, or tune into my podcast on Twitch on Sunday nights. But as always, enjoy your night. Bye now.